Yes, sir. Deputy Presiding Officer Ciotti. Alternate Deputy Presiding Officer Gonzalez. Legislator Abrahams. Legislator Triano. Legislator Ford. Legislator Scannell. Legislator Becker. Legislator Coppell. Legislator Muscarella. Legislator Nicolello. Legislator Bosworth. Legislator Wink. Legislator Belisi. Legislator Dunn. Legislator Jacobs. Legislator Walker. Legislator Dennenberg. Minority Leader Utoro. Presiding Officer Schmidt.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to have public comment before we do the legislative calendar. And I have a slip here from Jerry Laricchiuta, former trustee of the Village of Massapequa Park. Where's Massapequa?
Good morning, and yes, thank you, Mr. Schmidt. I did resign from the village so I can spend more time with this great group.
That's it, I quit.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'll be as brief as I can. We've spoken before, by the way. Congratulations to all on, and I'm just going to mention this, I'm passing the budget. Enough said. We got it done, and now we have to work hard at making it work. Now, what I'm here for is to bring up an issue that I've spoken about in the past, and of course, we're going to talk about the Healthcare Corporation. I have asked this legislature for public hearings. We didn't get too far with that. However, as we speak today, there has been an aggressive move by administration at NUMC to fully integrate with North Shore. And this is about to happen. And I know now that I believe there are certain committees here on the ledge. The county controller has been given reports. I've spoken to the county controller. I've spoken to CEO Art Gianelli. I've spoken to Congressman Steve Israel. We are trying to slow this process down. This needs more transparency. This needs to be publicly scrutinized. We have 3,800 members at the Healthcare Corporation without a contract for almost a year now, with none in sight. We have a senior citizens center, A. Holly Patterson, which I was just told last week is now no longer going to be torn down and rebuilt to be a state-of-the-art facility, but instead they're talking about, seriously talking about selling it or closing it. We're talking about privatizing a good portion of the workforce at what lets to be remained at NUMC. We're removing the CEO from the picture. I will no longer be dealing with. He will now become a private employee working directly for North Shore Hospital, and we have yet to be told what his new salary will be, but I can guarantee you it's going to be substantial. Not for nothing. But if you had told me 3 years ago, go over there and be the CEO, close our nursing home, privatize a third of the workforce, and I'll double or triple your salary, I'd have taken it too. We need some scrutiny. I'm begging you to slow this process up. We are asking Congress people in the area. We are going to the state controller for help. So I'm just asking, I know that there's an issue of purview and responsibility, but if he sent you the package to be reviewed and he sent the county controller the package to be reviewed, he must believe in his own heart that there's some responsibility here, or you would not have gotten it. We cannot get this hospital sold to North Shore, or at least integrated with North Shore, without some public debate. They deserve to know it's our only public hospital, and it's slowly melting down into a private facility. And we are going to lose our only public hospital. And I'm asking you seriously, help us take a look at this, Jerry, before it happens. Yes.
I think you're aware of this. I'm not really sure. There has been hired an independent consultant to review any integration or any proposals between North Shore and the Public Benefit Corporation. At my request, they are sending whatever draft of an agreement that they have to both the county controller and to the independent budget office for review. Subsequent to that, it'll go back to the Board of Governors of the hospital, with their recommendations, and we will, of course, I believe we will get copies of their recommendations. And then the board of directors of the hospital, of the Public Benefit Corporation, will have to decide on a course of action. This comes all about, by the way, because of the efforts of the new chairman of the board that was appointed by County Executive Mangano, Craig Rizzo. And he's been very instrumental in making sure that whatever is being done over there is done in just the manner that you have described, with plenty of transparency. And I can't, I don't know where this is going, to be perfectly honest with you, but I can tell you this. Anything that would impact the county's guarantee of the bonds of the hospital would have to come here for approval. And I suspect if it puts us on the hook for $300 million in bonds, that it's going to have a tough time getting approved. But there's nothing in front of us, so we have to let them work through the process and then see where it goes.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. That's what my next question was going to be. Is there any road to the county legislator? And you just answered that. So yes, there is.
If it affects the county guarantee.
Okay. Thank you.
To the chair.
Who's Legislator Ciotti?
First of all, we're concerned as well, and Peter just voiced that. But there's also a mission at that hospital in terms of providing uninsured and underinsured people. I mean, there are so many issues right now that have to be looked at, Jerry, that I agree with you that this can't be rushed to judgment, and it should be slowed down to take a hard look. And as Peter said, there is some transparency based on the appointment by the county executive, but we have to take a hard look at this as well.
Thank you. Yes.
Legislator Abrahams.
Hey, Jerry.
Hi.
You brought up a point in regards to A. Holly Patterson, things that I guess you were hearing in regards to is now no longer going to be revamped. It's going to be actually the property be sold.
I had a conversation with Mr. Gianelli last week. I don't remember it being one that I wasn't supposed to speak out of school on, so I am. Plus, it's kind of important. And the conversation went like this. I know we have plans to expand and build a state-of-the-art facility there. However, with the rising cost of constructions, the cut in state reimbursements, and a few other formulas that Mr. Gianelli explained to me, it is now changing, and we most likely will either have to sell or close down the facility. And I said immediately, I don't think you can sell it. It's a public entity. I don't think, and I'd have to have my lawyers look into it, I don't think, according to the original transfer agreement, that you have the ability to sell it.
Well, I mean, obviously, I have to catch up and speak, because I had a conversation with Mr. Gianelli not too far ago, and he didn't mention anything to me about that. But if something has changed, then I definitely need to know that, because the folks in Unionville that I represent are awaiting a brand new state-of-the-art A. Holly, in addition to everything else that they agreed to in order to allow this process, or to be supportive of this process going forward. So I am extremely concerned if we're now changing gears and there's no actually public information being provided to those folks in Uniondale and the surrounding communities as well, because not just the Uniondale residents use A. Holly Patterson, East Meadow, Bethpage, Roosevelt, Hempstead, you name it, they're there. I've seen the residents. So I'll be happy to work with you to make sure that we try to get as much information as possible. So I'll give you a call and we could talk about it a little bit more to make sure that, we try to keep the hospital on the path of making sure that they provide a revamped A. Holly Patterson.
Thank you very much, Mr.
No problem.
Legislator Denenberg.
Yes, hi, Jerry. Thank you for coming down again. When you came down over the summer, and then I met with you regarding a number of issues, not just the future, this possible merger, issues of the land sales, but also issues of employee issues, particularly in the nursing unit and nursing staffing and hours. I think all of this, because it's a public authority, and Nassau Healthcare Corp is a public authority subject to the public authorities law, and it was created by law under Nassau County, so Nassau County has the power to appoint and oversee certain aspects of the Healthcare Corp. I really believe that it's incumbent upon us not just to be getting information when you come at a public public comment during the public hearing portion of our full legislative hearing. It's our job to get to the bottom of what's going on, and we should be conducting hearings. I put in a request to Legislator Schmidt, our presiding officer, which was turned down to this point, but I really do think with these rumors flying, possible mergers, why not, through the, at least the Health Committee, have an information hearing where we can find out what the complaints are, what's going on, what some of these issues are, because it doesn't just impact the guarantees. It impacts funding that the county gives annually. It impacts appointments that we approve, appointments that we make. It impacts communities, and it impacts CSEA employees. So again, I'm going to continue calling for legislative hearings rather than sit here and wait.
Thank you, Mr. Dannenberg. And I think what Legislator Abraham said also, the mission statement is about to change. It has to. When you start privatizing a public entity, there's a different bottom line. That's
It would
all.
have to. It would have to, right?
I believe it would. Thank you.
Legislator Ford.
Jerry, thank you very much for coming down, and I also am very concerned about this as well. And not too long ago, I had a conversation with Art Gianelli in regard to the nurses, the nursing situation, and he did not indicate anything about North Shore, about any type of merger or whatever. So, you know, the radar is up on this one, and I'll tell you, we're going to follow this very, very closely, and I'll be in touch with you as well to continue to discuss this. And, you know, I'm waiting to see, you know, with this independent counsel, what they come out, but I think I'm going to ask that we also be included directly on any type of correspondence, so we have an idea of what's going on and what's, you know, what's going to happen with NUMC, because I am very concerned about the employees that you have working over there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Legislator Gonzalez.
Jerry, thank you very much for coming down today and giving us an update on what's happening over at the hospital. And I have to assure you that I will be asking many, many questions. I'm going to be having a meeting this afternoon. The other thing is, I think since this hospital is in the East Meadow community, the East Meadow community should know what's going on. If we can't have a hearing here, I can have one in my district. And I will definitely have the CEO and his staff come and tell us about all the things that he's planning. Because if it weren't for you, we would not know about clinical integration. And I thank you for that. And we found out that this is the path that it's going on. But be assured that everything that does happen from now on in will be carefully reviewed by myself, my community, and hopefully by this body. So thank you for coming down, sharing this information with us, and you gave me some information for my meeting this afternoon, and I think they're going to be rather surprised. Thank you.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. Thank you.
Legislator Bosworth.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good, you too.
And of course, I'm echoing what everybody else has been saying, is that it's always good to see you and hear your perspective and your comments about, you know, what is happening. Very disappointed to hear about A. Holly Patterson. I know that there's been much pride taken in the fact that it had been at a state where it wasn't doing as well as we would have hoped it would, and then there were all these upgrades where it was actually noted, you know, as being an outstanding long-term facility, and so I'm concerned about what I'm hearing. I'd also like to take this opportunity to, and I know this isn't what you actually came here to speak about, but you have come to us in the past about the fact that there's been some concern about the blocked hours for the nurses, that they're working 8 hours a day instead of the normal 12 hours that they had. What's happening with that?
We've had many, many meetings with the CEO and his staff, and I believe we are close to an agreement on getting them back to a 12-hour tour, different than what they had. It's actually concessionary on our behalf. However, we're doing what's needed to help, and this is what I'm saying, you know, we're doing what's needed to help both the nurses and the healthcare corporation, because we want to see it survive. So it will save them money, and it will get the nurses back, so everyone's a winner, but then we have to deal with this other issue.
Yeah, well, by helping the nurses and helping the healthcare corp, you're also helping the patients, because the situation that you had described, where nurses being on for not only their 8 hours, but then another 8 hours, certainly couldn't have been good for patients. and certainly had all kinds of implications for the way that the nurses could adjust their home lifestyle as well in terms of childcare and the kinds of things that they had to deal with. You know, Legislator Gonzalez, hi. You had mentioned a meeting, so I'm assuming that's not a meeting that has to do with the Health Committee, but I would really love, I know we had wonderful. We had attended a meeting in the summer where, Jerry, you had been kind enough to bring us up to date, and I just hope that if, you know, any other meetings, you know, like that occur, that
Sure,
there'll be full
absolutely.
representation.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Legislator Dunn?
I just want to thank you for bringing this to our attention. You know, it's a matter of trust. We understood that we would be informed on any of the moves that they're going to make there, and this is the first time I'm hearing it. If this is happening with the seniors over at Holly Patterson, you know, the VA is supposed to be coming into our facility, to the campus there. Is that next? What are they going to cut next? What's going to be twisted next? And we're going to put our fingers on the pulse of what's going on, and I appreciate you keeping us informed on what you hear too, because this is really serious.
It's serious, and it's not being put out on the table, and I just wanted to let everyone know that. And you need to look into it. Thank you.
Okay, anybody
Thanks.
else? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Laricchiuta. I have no other slips. Does anybody else have anything to say under public comment?